All right, so I guess we're just about ready to start. So it's been about, well, over a year since I did a live show. And I'm going to try to start doing them again every so often. I don't always have time to do live shows, and I don't always have stuff to talk about, but we'll see. We'll just see how it goes. Let me know if you can hear me okay, if there's any problems with the audio or with the streaming. I just upgraded a few months ago to AT&T fiber service, which is light years faster than the previous service that I had. So hopefully the streaming should be nice and clear, because I've certainly got the bandwidth now. So now, first of all, I'm going to answer some questions as we go along every now and then. I've got my assistant here who's going to be helping me with some questions. I'm going to tell you right now, it's probably not a good idea to request that I run something, because I will run some trains toward the end of the video, but it's probably not going to be what you want. I've got a gazillion trains, and to pull out ones on request is time consuming, and so I will probably not be able to run the ones you're wanting me to run, but I will be running some at any rate. So anyway,
we've already got like 30 taking up all the track.
Yeah.
You'd have to take those and put them somewhere.
Yeah, putting a new train on the tracks is time consuming, because I've got a lot of stuff on the tracks right now. So I'm probably just going to be running what is on the tracks at the moment, and that's probably it. So, but anyway, the first thing I wanted to do was to what's the green bottle there?
Not beer.
It's not beer. That's San Pellegrino. That's water. I've got a San Pellegrino and a Red Bull. But anyway, so the first thing I'm going to do is talk about the new MTH catalog that just came out. And my iPads did not want to cooperate today, so I'm using my Samsung Galaxy instead. It'd be cool if I was getting paid by Samsung to say that, but I'm not.
San Pellegrino, yes, I like that one. The pomegranate.
Oh,
blood orange.
Yeah, those are good.
That's my favorite right now.
Okay, so we're gonna I'm gonna go through the catalog, the new MTH catalog, and hopefully you guys will find this interesting. The new MTH catalog came out a few weeks ago, and so I've been perusing it and deciding what I wanted to order, and they've got some nice stuff in there. It's a typical MTH catalog these days, which means that there's lots of nice stuff. There's no new stuff. MTH, they've kind of been on cruise control with the O gauge line for a few years, and so even though there's lots of interesting stuff, there's nothing that's new. A new tooling, I should say, but that's not always a bad thing, because it gives you a chance to, well, at least it gives me a chance to get some stuff that I might not have gotten the first time around, and that's certainly the case this time. So, zooming ahead, let me back up for a second before I zoom ahead. There's MTH has, as many of you know, they've got a Wi-Fi system. You can get, if you've got the full DCS system and you've got the TIU, you can get a WIU, which is the wireless interface unit, and that allows you to run the trains from your phone using the MTH DCS app on your phone. And that's been out for a while. They've more recently, in the last, year or two, they've come out with the DCS Explorer. And the purpose of this is they're packing it with all of their starter sets, and the purpose is to get it so you can run starter sets or any MTH engine from your phone very easily without investing a whole lot of extra money in extra systems. And so the DCS Explorer is the newest member of that family. I've actually got one here. Could you run and grab it real quick? It's on the
The mantle?
It's on the couch. It's a orangey box that says MTH on it. She's gonna go grab it for me because I forgot. But anyway, it looks similar to the WIU, but it's much more limited, and they're shipping it with their starter sets, and you can buy it separately, and basically it lets you run any MTH train that is running DCS2 or ProtoSound 2 or ProtoSound 3 from your phone, and it's pretty cool like that. And you can do it without having to buy a TIU or the WIU. You can do it just with the DCS Explorer and your phone. And so for that reason, it's pretty neat. She's bringing the box right now.
Go on, Tootsie. Sorry.
Sorry, our dog's squeaking. So this is the DCS Explorer, and basically it looks like that, and it's really easy. All you do is you hook up any power source to it. So you can have the power source that came with your starter set. If you've got an old MTH transformer, as long as it's got one of these plugs, you can plug it in, and then this goes out to the track, and that's it. And then you just turn it on, you pull up the wireless network on your phone, and you pull up the DCS app, and you're good to go. And so this is sort of the newest thing they've got. It comes with a little antenna too. Let me put that on real quick. Not that it really matters, but so that's what the thing kind of looks like when it's up and running. And so it's kind of cool. And the nice thing about it is that you can run any ProtoSound 2 or ProtoSound 3 engine with this thing from your phone if you have this thing hooked up to your layout. So what I'm doing, I'm in the process of making a video that's going to explain their whole Wi-Fi system, starting with the DCS Explorer, because they and I really want to impress upon people how easy it is to run these trains from your phone, especially for older modelers.
This guy keeps asking about Tootsie.
No.
Sorry.
So you can run any of the trains from your phone with this, and it doesn't have to be a brand new MTH train. So as an example, in the video that I'm going to do, I've got a starter set that I bought for my son in 2005. It's got PS2. That set was made way before any sort of modern smartphone technology, and you can still run it with this thing and your smartphone because it's got PS2. So any PS2, PS3 engine will work. It's pretty neat. So like I said, I'm doing a bunch of videos, a series of videos on their whole Wi-Fi system, and that's going to help to better explain how the whole thing works. Starting with the DCS Explorer, and then we'll get a little more advanced and talk about the TIU and the WIU and all that stuff. So it's kind of neat. The Explorer does not give you the full range of functions that you get with the WIU or with the DCS remote. It gives you a very abbreviated control panel, but it still allows you to run those trains, and it's pretty cool for that reason. So anyway, within the MTH catalog itself, and the reason I thought about that is because on the one of the first pages of the catalog, they've got a picture of their whole Wi-Fi setup, and so I scrolled by that and thought, well, let's talk about that. So, but anyway, they've got some interesting stuff in here. You know, on the RailKing side, I typically don't order much RailKing because it's not scale. So I don't. There's no reason for me to order it. However, they do have some stuff that is scale, and so there's one thing that I'd like to order this time around, and it's a switcher and a CAF unit. So, and it's the Chessie SW2. NW2, the Chessie NW2 and CAF unit that's on page 39 of the catalog. I'm trying to get some more Chessie stuff in my fleet because I've got a cat named Chessie now, and so I'm adding a few Chessie items because I really didn't have much Chessie stuff in my fleet at all prior to getting this cat. So I figure I might as well get some. So I'm gonna get the switcher and the CAF unit. I've never had a CAF unit before, so that should be kind of cool. And that's really the only RailKing thing that I'm getting. And then, jumping next to the Premier line stuff. Give me a second. My phone's loading. Okay, there we go. I wish I was able to do this on my iPad, but it's not cooperating. So with the Premier line, there's a few things I'm getting. They've got another big boy in there again. I think they've had a big boy in the catalog for like the last 4 years. So if you're ever wanting to get an MTH, the C&O M1 steam turbine, which again is a sort of a chessy thing, C&O, but it's a really cool looking outfit. It's got the M1 steam turbine and then a bunch and some passenger cars. So I'm going to be ordering that for sure. They've got a bunch of diesels in here. They've got the Spirit of the Union Pacific SD70. I already ordered the Lionel version of that, so I'm not going to order the MTH version. And then there are a few other things that I'm thinking about ordering. The GP40. One thing that I'm kind of looking forward to is the there's a New Haven EF3B electric that's in the catalog that I thought would be really neat. It's kind of pretty. And then there might be one or two other things. I think there's the UP coal turbine I think would be kind of cool. That's a big old thing, so that'll be a lot of fun. It's expensive, but it's cool. And I think that's about it. The only other things I'm thinking about ordering with some rolling stock.
Put it over some. You keep cutting off half of it.
With there's a chassis boxcar, which I kind of want to get. And then there's a 4-pack of Army cars that have tanks and trucks on them. It's on page, looks like 126. There it is. They've got these cars with tanks and trucks on them, and I think that's really cool. And the reason I'm getting that is because one of the sets of rolling stock that I have that it is the most often talked about pieces that I have. People are always asking about them. I've got a six pack of MTH flat cars with Abrams tanks on them, and people are always saying, "Where'd you get those? Those are so cool. Where can I get one? Where can I get those?" And you can't get them. They're all sold out. MTH made them, I guess, about maybe 8 or 9 years ago, and they've never made them since. I wish they would, because I'd like some more, but they haven't, and they're really, really neat. I don't know. I'm sure some of you guys have seen them in my videos, but it's a six of these flat cars with these camouflage tank, these kind of desert camouflage tanks on them. And so these new cars, they're not quite like those, but it's a similar sort of arena. And so I'm going to get the it's got the Wolverine tanks and the M16 scout cars. So there they are right there. And again, those are on page 126 or something like that. It's hard to navigate the catalog with this thing because I'm on my phone and not on my iPad. But yeah, 126 is what they're on. So that's about it that I'm going to get from the new MTH catalog. Like I said, it's it's a typical MTH catalog these days. There's not a whole lot of new tooling going on, but but it's a chance to sort of catch up and get some stuff that you may have missed in previous years, like the M1. They did that several years back. I don't know how many years back, and I passed on it, and so now I've got a chance to get it again. So that's kind of the good thing about doing a reruns, is that it gives you a chance to catch up when you're like Lionel and you're always doing new stuff every catalog. It makes it really hard to keep up because there's so much stuff coming out. So anyway, now that we're done with the catalog, I'll answer a few questions. Let's see here. Are there any good ones?
There was one, but it was way at the top. I don't know if you can scroll back.
Are they asking how Chessie's doing or how Tootsie's doing?
So they've asked about both of them, and they keep asking about Josiah.
No. Everything's fine. The cat's fine. The dog's fine. My kid's fine. Everything's fine.
Oh, well, he just won into this.
Yeah, my
Sweet
chess.
16.
What's that? Oh, well, that's baseball.
Well, okay.
I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
But anyway, so I'm going to see if we can find some questions. Do you see any good ones? You can scroll up if you need to. If you need to look at previous questions.
Why do you think MTH switched the daylight whistle?
Why do I think MTH switched the daylight whistle? I have no idea. I guess you'd have to ask MTH. If I had to guess, it's usually one of two things. First of all, sometimes whenever train makers or anybody changes anything, it's usually because of money. So that would be my first guess, is that they maybe saved some money by using a different sound file. My second guess would be maybe they decided this one was better. I don't know which. I don't have the older MTH daylight, so I don't know which one has the more correct sounding whistle. I'm not a whistle audiophile, as I've said a lot of times. I don't get bent out of shape about whether or not a train's whistle or horn sounds 100% accurate. What's more important to me is that it sounds good, and if it's not accurate but it's good, that's okay with me. I just want something that sounds good. So
what do you think is the best smoke product out there?
The best smoke product out there is JT's Megasteam. I think their website is www.megasteam.com, and that's my favorite smoke fluid these days. Probably right below that is Lionel. Lionel has been putting out some nice scented fluids the last few years that are pretty good, but my all-around favorite is JT's Megasteam, because it seems to produce really voluminous white smoke, more so than the other brands, and they've really got some really cool flavors. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but I've got a whole shelf full of the flavors that JT's Megasteam comes in. I've gotten just about every flavor they make, at least every flavor that I'm interested in. There are some that I'm not interested in, but they've got a gazillion flavors that you can purchase, and probably my favorite of the JT's Megasteam, my day-to-day just go-to flavor is a scent that's called Forest and Stream, and it's just a real fresh, clean kind of outdoorsy smell, and I like it a lot. But they've got all sorts of. They've got a root beer flavor that I like a lot. They've got a leather smell that I like a lot, and then they've got some woods, some pines and hickories and stuff like that smell really good as well. But so give them a try. It's not too expensive, and my only recommendation would be, if you buy it, you can buy the bottles of the fluid, but they also sell a needlepoint dispenser, sold separately. That's a few bucks, and I would get that, because the needlepoint dispenser makes it way, way, way easier to get the smoke into your engine and not on the engine. So those things have been a lifesaver, because without those things, I get smoke fluid all over the place, and it's just a big mess. Let's see here. How many BNSF locomotives do you think you have? I don't know. There's a good way to find out. If you're curious about how many locomotives I have, especially of a particular road name, if you go to my website, www.ericstrains.com, and you click on the trains link and go to the fleet, you can see a breakdown of all the various road names in the fleet, and you'll see how many BNSF engines that I have. Although that number includes no, it doesn't include rolling stock. So hang on a second. Let me. I can probably look it up and tell you real quick. So I'm going to ericstrains.com. I'm clicking on the trains, modern trains. And then there's a breakdown of how many BNSF, how many items I have in the BNSF is in fourth place with 33. So I've got 33 BNSF items. Off the top of my head, with engines, it's probably, I can see them right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 to 8 BNSF engines. That doesn't include Burlington Northern and Santa Fe and all the subsidiary, railroads within. But just the typical orange, BNSF engines, I think I've got about maybe between 6 and 8. Right now I can see, within my field of vision, I can see 5. And so if I can see 5, there's probably a few more that I can't see right now. So I'd probably say between 6 and 8. So next question. See anything?
They keep asking you how to return under warranty
Return or under warranty?
a product for repairs.
Let's see here. How to return stuff under warranty?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's easy. If you want to return stuff that's under warranty, just call up the manufacturer and open up a ticket, and they'll give you an RA number, and then you just send it in. I've actually got 2 engines that are in for service.
Return authorization number.
Return authorization, RA number. I've got a Lionel engine that's being serviced right now, and I've got an MTH engine that's being serviced right now. And all I did was call up their customer service and get an RA number, and then they let me send it in. Lionel paid for the shipping to send it in. MTH did not. Sometimes that flips around. It just depends on how they're feeling, I guess. But sometimes you have to pay for the shipping. Sometimes you don't. That's just the way life goes. But on the Lionel side, I've got my K4, my Penske K4. I had to send that in because the smoke unit control board broke. And then the MTH, I'm sending in a Dash 9 that I've had for a very, very, very long time. That one's actually out of warranty, and I'm going to have to pay to get it fixed, but that's okay. One of these days I'm going to do a video about the proper way to engage customer service because a lot of times you hear these horror stories from people about, I contacted Lionel's customer service and they were horrible to me, or I contacted MTH and the same thing happened. And I think a lot of it has to do with it's 2 things. It's the way you engage them, your attitude when you engage them, and also having the right expectations in terms of, they're in business to make a profit. They're not in the business to do things for free. And if it's out of warranty, you're going to have to pay to get it fixed. That's just the way life goes. They can't make a profit if they're fixing 10-year-old engines for free. I mean, you just can't do that. So there's a lot about setting expectations, and there's a lot about having the right attitude. And just as a quick example, if you call up Lionel and you are yelling and screaming and calling them foul names and saying this thing is the worst thing I've ever seen and I'm never buying another Lionel item again and you guys stink and everybody stinks, well, you're kind of setting yourself up for a bad experience. If on the other hand you call up and you're nice and you're polite and you're understanding, you're setting yourself up for a good experience. So both of those things kind of figure into the experience you're going to have. And I've never had a bad customer service experience with either Lionel or MTH or Atlas for that matter, because I've always kept those 2 things in check. Having the right expectations, knowing that I might have to fork out some money to get it fixed, and also being nice and polite and sweet. And I don't think, I think some people would say, well, you're Eric Siegel with Eric Trains, of course you're going to have a good experience. But to be honest, the people who work at Lionel and MTH, they're not trained people. 95% of the people who work at these places don't watch train videos on YouTube. So when I call up and some girl answers in customer support, she doesn't know Eric Siegel from a hole in the ground. So I don't think that really has anything to do with it. Or if it does, not very much. And even before I was making the videos, I still got good experience because of those two things. Going in with the right expectations, knowing that I might have to pay some money, and going in, knowing that you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. So, next question.
What's an Amtrak toaster? I don't know what that is.
An Amtrak toaster is the Amtrak AEM7.
Does it look like a toaster?
It's really square and boxy, and people call it a toaster.
Okay.
I did a review on the AEM7 not too long ago. I'm not sure if that's what they're asking, but I already did a review on the AEM7, and so you can watch that on my YouTube channel. I've seen a couple scroll by where people are asking which Vision Line Niagara I'm getting. I can't remember which one I ordered. I wasn't too picky. I probably ordered the one that was on the cover, whatever number that was. I'm not too picky about it. It's big, it's black, and it's a Vision Line engine. So that's what I ordered.
Well, there's 2 repeat questions here.
What are those?
Somebody wants to know how to spray paint without getting it on something. I went by already. And now it went by again.
Yeah, they go by really fast. Let's see if I can find that. I don't see anything about spray paint, but maybe
It's
it just...
gone by there like 2 or 3 times.
Well, if there's somebody who asked about spray paint, ask again so we can see it. The questions scroll by really fast, so it's kind of hard to pick them out. I've got my assistant here helping me out with these questions because they scroll by so fast. I can't see them all. So...
Here it is. How do you apply
there it
spray
is.
paint to a freight car that has pickup rollers?
Oh, that's Max Railroad. I know who he is. Okay. When you're spray painting a train, I'm just going to go from my experience. If I weather an engine, or I weather a car, and it has pickup rollers and wheels, because you don't want to get paint on the pickup rollers and you don't want to get paint on the wheels.
Oh, your picture went out.
Uh-oh.
It got exposed.
What's that?
Oh, nothing.
Uh-oh, camera off. Let's see what happened. Well, it says it's still streaming.
No, it's not.
Can you guys hear me? Because it says it's still streaming.
Maybe your phone went into sleep mode. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me, hang on a second. I need to plug up. Hang on, guys. If you're there.
Yeah, they can hear you.
Okay. That was it. It went into low power mode. Close. Okay.
See? I knew that. I knew that.
Okay. See if we can get the video back.
Tootsie. Come here.
There we go. Now it's back. Okay. All right. Yay. I'll just cut that out when I edit it on the when it's on YouTube.
Oh, Tootsie, stop it. She's knocking over the camera.
Okay. All right. So now we're back. The camera was running on batteries and it went into low power mode, and so I had to hook up the power plug. That was my fault. Anyway, where were we?
Spray paint.
Oh, the spray paint. So if you want to spray paint something, when I'm weathering roller, so what do? Well, if it's a piece of rolling stock, if it's a caboose or a car, there's three things that I'll do, depending on the situation, depending on the manufacturer. Number one is if I can detach the trucks easily, I'll detach the trucks and weather them separately. I'll take the wheels off and take the pickup rollers off and weather that whole assembly separately, and then reattach it to the car. That's what I do when I'm weathering something made by Atlas or Weaver, because those are very easy to detach the trucks. Or if it's a Lionel, Lion Scale, some of the Lionel stuff you can take the trucks off fairly easily. If I can't take the truck off, the next thing is if you want to protect the pickup roller, you can use some tape. You can just wrap some tape around the pickup roller assembly. You want to use some tape that's not going to leave a lot of residue. So what I usually use is painter's tape, that blue painter's tape that you can get at Home Depot. I'll wrap that around the pickup roller part, and that way it doesn't get spray painted. The final last thing you can do is just spray paint the whole thing, and then when you're done, what I'll do is when the paint's dry, I'll flip the car over and I'll get a Q-tip that has paint thinner or acetone on it, and I'll spin the wheels and get the paint off the bottoms of the wheels, and then I'll spin the pickup roller and get the paint off the pickup roller. Usually I'll spin it with a Dremel tool in one hand and a Q-tip in the other, and I'll spin it, and that'll help spin the wheels fast, and then you put the Q-tip soaked with paint thinner or acetone, and that'll get all the paint off. I usually use acetone just because it works a little faster. You got to be careful with the acetone because if you get acetone on plastic, it'll dissolve plastic, it'll melt plastic. So you do have to be careful with it, and it's very flammable as well. So, but usually that's what I'll do. And like I said, it depends on what I'm weathering. If I'm weathering an engine, I'll tape up. I'll detach the side frames, weather the side frames separately, and then the actual wheel assembly with the gears and everything, I'll tape that up. If it's and then like I said, for a piece of rolling stock, I'll either detach the truck, tape it up, or just spray it and then get the paint off with some acetone later on. So those are your three options, and they all work fine. It's just some require a little extra work, and if you can detach the trucks and weather them separately, that'll save you having to get the paint off of the wheels and the pickup rollers later. But it's not the end of the world if you have to do that.
What about this one? How do you use multiple powerhouses through the DCs? And how do you make the different power blocks on the layout?
With DCS, there are 4 outputs on the TIU. So on my layout, those 4 outputs go to 4 power districts that are around the layout. And the way you do that is that each district is wired to its own power supply through the TIU, and then along the track you just have a separation where there's no hot rail contact between one district and another. You can share the grounds. The grounds can be shared. The outer rails, those can be joined, assuming all 4 transformers are going to have the same positive and negative. You can have, you can share the outer rails. You don't have to worry about, but the inner rail, I just put it in. With Atlas Track, you can buy an insulating rail, insulating track joiner that is a plastic joiner, so that no current will flow. And so you have District 1 here and District 2 here. You know, the outer rails are joined, but the inner rails, there's a insulating piece between them so they don't join. So power for District 1 does not affect power for District 2. But like I said, the outer rails, those can connect. Those are okay. It's just the center rail power that you have to worry about in most circumstances.
And so what if you were going to run 200 feet of track around the ceiling of the room? Would you have to run separate bus lines with separate transformers? It's assuming that whatever, now it flew by.
I saw them.
Okay.
For 200 feet of track around the ceiling, if I just had a single loop of track around the ceiling, I would just use one power supply, because there's only so many trains you're going to be running on it. You know, assuming it's just one track, I would just have one power supply and just have feeder wires going out, you know, maybe every 8 feet, and do it that way. The only reason you really need power districts is if you're running multiple trains at once. So for example, in the main room here, I can have 3 trains running at once on the bottom level and 4 trains on the top. So that's too many trains to be running on one power supply. So the top level has its own power supply, and then with the bottom level, that's split up into 3 sections. So that way you can run multiple trains. So it's not about how long your track is. It's about how much amperage you're going to pull. It's about how many trains you're going to run at one time on the track. So if I just had a single 200-foot line around the ceiling, I would just have one power supply.
Right now, someone was talking about denatured alcohol and using it to clean.
I've never used denatured alcohol. You can use it.
There's some other ones you're saying not to.
When it comes to cleaning track, there are as many ways to clean track as there are people you talk to. Some people use Bestine. Some people use acetone. Some people use mineral spirits. Some people don't use any of that. Some people use scrub, the Scotch Brite pads. The best way to find out what works for you is to just try everything and see which one you like the best. That's all you do. There's really no wrong or right to it. On my layout, personally, I use acetone. It's very dangerous. I don't feel good recommending it wholeheartedly. It's very dangerous because it's very, very, very flammable. And I've actually set the track on fire once or twice over the years because the cleaning car came by and got acetone on the track, and then a car derailed and short-circuited, and it shot out a spark, and next thing you knew, the acetone was on fire. So you have to be very, very careful with it. But acetone works really, really well. It gets up everything. And usually it'll just get it up in one pass. With other cleaners that aren't so flammable, you're going to have to do multiple passes to get it. So it really just depends on, it's kind of a balance of what works for you versus how dangerous do you want to be. So for the kids out there, don't go taking your parents' acetone from the garage and start using it, because it is very, very, very flammable, and you don't want to mess with it without really knowing what you're doing and being very, very careful. I was just lucky that the once or twice where it caught on fire, that it wasn't in a tunnel where I couldn't see it. And I really shouldn't use acetone. I really should find something else, but it works so darn well. It's hard to come off of it. And the other thing about acetone is that, like I said, it melts plastic, so you have to be very careful, because if you're running plastic track, like Fast Track or even Atlas Track like I'm using, and you spill some acetone on the track, it can dissolve, it can melt the plastic and make it look all funny. So you just have to. Acetone's a kind of a dangerous animal to work with. If I was going to recommend something to somebody, I would probably say use something like Bestine or mineral spirits or something like that.
I like Gugon. I use that on everything.
Gugon. I've never tried Gugon on track, but you could probably use that. And I also use Scotch-Brite pads too. If there's on some areas of my track, if it's really nasty or it's got some just really bad gunk on it, I'll go over with a Scotch-Brite pad, and a Scotch-Brite will get everything off too. Scotch-Brites are really good.
Oh yeah, Mr. Clean magic erasers. Those are cool. Mr. Clean.
I don't know if they probably work, but it would be a really expensive.
It would be
venture because those things just crumble. When I clean my track, I use a track cleaning car called the CMX Clean Machine. I've been using it for years. It's wonderful. I'm not going to pull it out right now because it's under the layout. But I did a review on the CMX Clean Machine years ago. So if you want to find out more about the CMX Clean Machine, just watch the review that I did. They're kind of hard to find. They're not the easiest things to buy. But if you can get they're expensive. But if you can get your hands on one, that will be the last track cleaning car you ever buy, period. Let me see here. Someone says, oh no. Someone says, which is better, LionChief or RailKing? I hate it when people ask me questions, which is better, because it really depends on what you're looking for, and they both have their, just like everything else, they have their pros and cons. It's kind of like asking someone, which is a better car, a Honda or a Toyota?
Toyota.
Yeah, she has a Toyota, but they're both good cars. And which one is better really depends on what you want and what you look for in a car. You really can't go wrong with either one. They're both going to run well for many years. It just depends on what you're looking for. There's some things that Toyota does really well. And
They're more luxury.
And some things they don't do well. And there's some things that Honda does really well and not so well. So it just depends. But when it comes to LionChief versus RailKing, LionChief is easy to use. It's got Bluetooth nowadays, so you can run it with your smartphone very easily. And it comes with the remote control, so LionChief is really great. RailKing, typically, with MTH, you're going to get better quality. You're going to get better build quality, so you're going to get a more high quality item. It's not going to have Bluetooth, at least not yet, but it will have the newer ones. If you buy a starter set, it'll have the DCS Explorer with it. If you just buy a RailKing engine by itself, it's going to run just fine, but it's probably not going to have the Bluetooth right now. So, but it's probably also never going to break. The RailKing stuff is really built like a tank, and it's going to run perfectly for a long, long time. So it's it really just depends what you're looking for. I like them both, and I like them both for different reasons. I've reviewed some LionChief stuff recently. I don't really buy RailKing very often, so I've got more recent experience with LionChief, but they're both good. The one big advantage that RailKing has over LionChief is expandability. This is something that I wish Lionel would get their act together on. When you buy a LionChief engine, you've got the engine, you can run it from your phone, you've got the remote control, but if you ever decide to upgrade to Legacy, you can't run it with Legacy. So you could spend $400-500 on a LionChief, really nice LionChief engine, then go out and spend $400 on a legacy command system, buy a $2,000 legacy Vision Line big boy and run it with your legacy system, and yet you still have to run that LionChief engine with the little remote that came with it or with your phone. And so it's not a very expandable system. LionChief is geared, it seems to me, it's geared more towards selling these things to people, to beginners. You're selling it to them, and that's it. Let's sell these things and make them easy to run. RailKing tends to be, I think the motto over there tends to be, let's sell somebody a quality train that is something they can grow with, that they can take with them. And if they expand their empire and decide to spend a bunch of money, they can still run that same old RailKing engine they bought all those years ago. As a perfect example of that, like I was saying when I was talking earlier about the DCS Explorer, I've got a RailKing Pensy starter set that I bought for my son in 2005. This was before the iPhone was invented, before Android was invented, before, Bluetooth, apps and all that stuff was invented. And so here we have an old set from 2005, and yet I can still run it with my DCS remote. Just like I can run my brand new MTH Big Boy with this remote. It doesn't matter. I can run them both. I can run that old 2005 starter set with this DCS Explorer. And that's the portability that I'm talking about, the expandability, where you can get RailKing and use it as a jumping off point into the hobby. Whereas with the LionChief, it's really nice. They have really nice features, but that's all there is. And if you want to expand into the hobby, you can't really take it with you. So to speak, you're still going to be stuck with that little remote that it came with. I guess probably at some point in the future, it's sort of getting towards it now. It's probably not going to matter because I think eventually everything is going to be smartphone based anyway. But even then, Lionel still needs to do some work because you have to be able to, you have to have everything integrated into the same system. So MTH has always done a better job with that. I saw a video, I've talked about this before, but I saw a video years and years ago with an interview with Mike Wolf, the founder of MTH. And he had a really good line, and he said that the starter sets are the business card of the company. And they don't really make a whole lot of money on the starter sets, but the purpose of the starter set is to get people into the hobby and get them in the hobby in a way that is positive and fun and that allows for growth. And the RailKing product line does that. You can give your 4-year-old a RailKing set, and as he continues to grow with it, when he's 50 years old and has his own kids, he can still integrate that set from all those years ago into his layout seamlessly without having to do any sort of jumping through hoops or anything like that. So that's the big thing that RailKing has going for it. So like I said, which one is better? It depends on what you're looking for. If someone makes an L&N M1 Burke, would you buy it? I don't know, maybe. If it was cool. Let's see if we can find one more question. Then I'll show you some more stuff. And then, we're kind of running over now, so I'll show you a couple things, and then I'll run some trains to wrap things up. I'll answer one or two more questions. Someone asked me why no third rail engines. He's probably the same guy who always asks me that on my videos in the comment section. He's asking why don't I have any engines that are made by third rail. I want to. I plan to. The problem is that with third rail, you really have to go but directly from Third Rail. You buy directly from them. Their engines are very expensive, and you sort of have to pay for it all at once. Whereas when you're a little easier, for me, it's always been a little easier finance-wise to get MTH and Lionel on a regular basis. I do plan on eventually getting some Third Rail stuff. I'd like to get a Third Rail steam engine because they are very, very, very nice. And I'd also like to get some stuff from Golden Gate Depot, which is the same outfit. They make some really nice passenger cars, and I'll probably get a Third Rail diesel or an electric at some point too. I just haven't gotten around to it, and as soon as I do, I'll do a review on that stuff. All right, so now I'm gonna
run some trains.
I'm gonna show you a couple more things, and then I'm gonna run some trains. So let me grab what I'm gonna show you real quick.
Oh, what are you eating? Tootsie.
Okay, I'm going to show you something that I'm going to be doing a review on soon. These are some passenger cars made by Atlas. This is the Atlas Trainman line, and these are their 60-foot passenger cars. This is a B&O observation car. This is a 2-rail version. I need to actually get the 3-rail version, but it's still a very, very nice car. These are really nice looking, and the prices are really good on them for how nice they are. So that's the B&O version, and as you can see, it's a beautiful, beautiful car. Now, the reason this is a 2-rail and not a 3-rail is because this is a sample that Atlas sent me, and they sent me a 2-rail version by accident, so there's the 2-rail version. This is a 3-rail version. This is one of, they've got several types. There's an observation, there's a coach, there's an RPO car, there's a baggage car, and then there's a combine car. This is the combine car. This is an undecorated version, so it has no paint scheme, which is kind of cool. If you watch the review that I uploaded earlier today of the Lionel snowplow, I was running one of these behind the snowplow. But I was actually running the RPO car. But there it is. Now, it's really nice, and you can get these for, I think they range anywhere from about $80 to $100, and they're very, very nice for the price. And the one thing I really like about these is I put some passengers in this one, and the passengers are right up there in the window. You can really see them, here's one of the passengers. On other cars, on the Lionel passenger cars and MTH, when you put the people in there, you can see them, but you kind of have to look to see them. And these ones are just right up there in your face. I don't know if that's just the type of car this is, or if it's because of the way Atlas did it, but it looks really nice. So I added people to this one. They don't come with figures when you buy them. You have to put them in yourself, but very cool. And so those are the Atlas cars. And like I said, I believe there are 5 cars. There's the observation, there's the coach, there's the combine, there's the RPO car, and then there's the baggage car. And I plan on getting one of each and some random road names just to have some fun. But I've got a couple of the ones I've got are in these unpainted schemes, which is kind of cool because it means that I can put my own road name on there and kind of have little passenger cars with my own road name on there. So that'll be neat. But anyway, that's what I wanted to show you. The next product review that I'm doing is for this engine right here. It's actually on the track as I'm filming it right now. This is the Lionel UP SD45. I'm hoping that video will be done by next week. I've noticed a pattern when I promise videos at a certain time, they never get done on time. So I'm not going to say it's going to be done next week, but I hope it will. And then that's going to be the next review I do, and then of course the next episode of Eric's Trains is going to be episode 69, which should be a lot of fun. And there's some surprises that are going to be in episode 69, and you'll just have to wait for that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run a train real quick. What I'm going to be running here is a Lionel Pensy GG1. That's nothing new. I've had that for a while, but I'm going to be behind the GG1. I'm going to have the new Lionel Broadway Limited 21-inch passenger cars. And I did put passengers in them, so they're nice and full. So the train's making some good money. And so I'm going to run it, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And once again, if I'm not running what you want me to run, I'm sorry. There's a lot of time and effort involved in running things on request, and I just can't do that tonight. But so I'm going to turn the camera around, and we'll run the GG1. So just give me a second. The camera's going to jump around while I'm moving it, but what was that? Okay. All right, so let's move the camera. What is... So there it is. I need some oil. There's a car in that. There's a car in that train that needs some grease on the wheels or something because it's making some noise. Okay, that about does it. I'm sorry I'm not going to run any more trains. I'm getting kind of tired here, but next live show I do, I'll run some more trains, and of course in episode 69 I'm going to be running some trains as well. So there'll be plenty of trains coming up. But for now, that's it. Have a good night. I'm Eric Siegel, and I'll see you next time.